Okay. Right now in studio we have Neo Moeti. As you know that we are in our anti-substance abuse campaign and awareness. So good morning, good afternoon actually.
Good afternoon.
Hey, I'm still in the morning.
Hi.
I'm still in the morning. Good afternoon, Neo. How are
Good
you?
afternoon. Good afternoon. No, thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure to have you here. So can you kindly introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Neo Muyedi. I'm founder of Mahato Foundation. We're based in Dobsonville and we specialize in helping those who struggle with alcoholism and drug abuse. So basically, we try our best to get people into treatment, whether government or private. And we do outreaches like soup kitchens where we go to the drug hotspots and we feed addicts on the streets. We do school talks, and we are currently embarking on a school talks tour where we go into schools and we share, the message about the dangers of drugs and alcohol with the learners. And we also host workshops in various neighborhoods and communities where we educate, the public on what it is, to be an addict and what it is that we call addiction, because there's many facets to it. Yeah, thank you.
So what made you to decide to start this foundation?
Okay, so basically how it started was after my 16-year journey of struggling with drug addiction, being in and out of rehab, finding myself living on the streets, eating out of dustbins, being a hobo basically. As soon as I came back from treatment, which was just over 5 years ago, people started knocking on my mother's door and were looking for help, wanting to find out how I did it. So I could refer those who could afford to go into private rehabs, and wherever I could help those to go into government rehabs. But the challenge with that is government rehabs take too long, to admit people. And so there's referral agencies which also, require a certain fee. So when I started, I could, do it out of my own pocket. But as time went and as the numbers grew as well, I realized I needed to, find a way to source money
Yeah.
and source funds, because essentially everything does operate, with money. And that's how Mahato Foundation was birthed. So we registered in 2021, and on the 16th of June 2021, we launched officially.
I hear you, and I want to find out just a little bit more, because 16 years is an almost 2-decade journey.
Yeah.
How do you get to a point where you decide it's time for a change?
Okay. So, I think one needs to get to a point where one is really fed up. And as cliche as it may sound, but one needs to be blessed with the gift of desperation. Because if one is desperate enough, will go to any length to get into recovery, because we were also desperate enough to go to any length and risk our lives, risk our freedoms, to get the drugs. So the same energy needs to be applied. That's my belief, yeah.
I love what you said, the gift of desperation.
Yeah.
Do you understand the importance of that? Knowing that, okay, you've reached the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no further you can go.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the lessons learned in this journey, in your 16-year journey?
Yeah. Okay, I think the biggest lesson for me that I've learned is that God can and will, first and foremost. Secondly, for me, I think it's like educating people, because we see people on the corners selling and dirties, we call them names, Wanyaupe and what's on,
Yeah.
so on and so forth, and we don't actually understand. So what I learned is not to be so angry at people for judging me, but to also understand where they come from, because there's a lot of education that needs to go into it.
And as you're talking about that, I was about to say, there's a relapsing process.
Yes.
Not everyone makes it through 16 years. And when you start, it's difficult. How did you overcome that?
True. Okay. I think I had to get to a point where I was really honest with myself, because I believe that relapse, which I've also experienced quite a couple of times, every day for like 8 years I relapsed, because I'd wake up not wanting to use again, but
Yeah.
I'd find myself back at it again. So I had to be honest with myself. I had to really surrender, because this is the only thing where you can surrender to win. It's like a paradox, you surrender in order to win. Raise the white flag, and that's where you
Yes.
win. Because let me put it to you this way. I think majority of us are old enough to remember Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Did you ever see that guy get beat up?
Nah.
he would come back from the brink of death
Yeah,
and
yeah.
defeat, right?
Yes.
That's exactly how addiction works.
Wow.
You know, so you don't challenge it,
Mm.
except I lost, and that's how we win.
I hear you. It makes me wonder, what is keeping you disciplined right now? Post the 16-year journey, now helping others, what is keeping you disciplined now?
Man, I think that one is the more simpler one. You know, I made a decision, and having made that decision, I stayed committed to that decision, and I've worked too hard to even consider going back, because now I'm at a point where, you know, by the grace of God, even the slightest thought doesn't come to mind, where the obsession is lifted, you know, because we suffer from 100 forms of fear. And everything that we do that makes us go back is because we can't handle feelings. And there's nothing as fleeting as feelings. Like, you can feel this way now, go make a sandwich, 2 minutes later you've forgotten about it. You know, so that's how I've managed to stay clean. I just decided and I chose to stay clean.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Very informative, very, very. It is 12:21 on the community's favorite Rainbow FM 90.7, your sound alternative. We are in studio right now with Neo Moedi, and he's telling us a little bit more about his journey of 16 years and his foundation and his really the journey and the accepting and that goal to help other people. He's telling us a little bit more on that, so do stay tuned for the rest of this. What happened? Rainbow FM 90.7, your sound alternative. This is Rainbow FM and this is NIV, news, information, and views. We are speaking to Neo Moedi from Mahanto Foundation. You've told us your journey. Before the break, you told us 16 years of addiction, and then you came back home, and then people were knocking on your mom's door to find out, how did he do it? How did Neo get it right? Help us. It makes me wonder, after 16 years, because substance abuse is not something that is isolated to just you. It affects your family.
Sure.
It affects your community. Were people more receptive of you? Was even your family more receptive of you coming back post 16 years?
Yeah, you know, fortunately my family was receptive, but let me start at the beginning. So, you know, one addict affects 16 people. Everyone that's connected to people that I'm connected to also suffers. You know, my community, or even just people in general, we may not engage in dialogue, but the mere fact that you can lay your eyes on me means I affect you, because you're feeling this pity. You can see this person is suffering. So I was going around like a raging tornado. Everywhere I went, I attracted pity or any other kind of feeling. Some people would get mad because someone stole from them and I looked the part, you know, so that's how it happened. And I was very fortunate in that my family has always been supportive. You know, when I came back from treatment, I was lucky enough to be left alone in my mother's house, because let me tell you this, when I was in treatment, so I went to Breaking the Chains in Lenasia South, and it's called BTC. So I went there, and on my weekend out, my mother came and picked me up for my weekend out, and as we drove into home, the first thing she said was, okay, I'm packing my bags, I'm going on holiday with my friends. Here's some money for bread and whatever, have a nice weekend. And she was gone, you know. So it left me in a position where I realized now I need to be responsible.
Yes.
I need to back up that talk, you know, by living what I'm practicing. I need to practice, you know, what I'm being taught in treatment, you know. So yeah, I was fortunate in that my family supported me, and I was also fortunate that the treatment center I was at, it also, you know, involves family, because addiction is a family disease, but recovery is also a family thing. It's also progressive, and it, you know, takes the family with. So my family was taught and educated on how to best deal with me when I came back. And yeah, and it's just something I'm very fortunate, you know, about, very grateful as well.
I love that the family was taught.
Listen,
You know, so that they know.
the mom
that
said,
this
I will not.
I will not.
I will not. You are going to sit here, be yourself, be about your business.
Yeah.
I'm going on holiday.
Just like that.
And she
I
was
want to-
gone.
Yeah. Can we get into the school talks?
Sure.
You know, these days there's this narrative of I'm at 2000, they don't listen. So how is the reception day?
Whew, my goodness. I'm very sad to say
Mhm.
my 2000 don't listen,
Yeah.
and I hate having to generalize and put all of them under the same bracket, because not all of them are like that.
True.
But
Yeah.
because it's hard to pick out who listens and who doesn't, because of all the schools I've been to, there's only one school where I was like super impressed with the discipline, and it goes to even how pupils present themselves,
Mhm.
uniform,
Yes.
how they
The
wear their school
little
uniform, the little
things.
things, and my thing is, as long as I can just get to one person,
Mhm.
I would have done my job, and if I can get to more than one, then it's even better than what I expected. But for me, it's just to make sure that these people are armed with the knowledge that, listen, guys, there is a danger when we dabble in these things. Because for me, how it started, I was also in high school.
Yes.
I'd be lying if I said the main reason why I started was because of my home circumstances. The real reason why I started was because someone offered me something and I said, sure, why not? I was curious, I wanted to try, and guess what curiosity does to the cat?
Hey,
Oh.
it kills the cat.
Yeah, but fortunately this cat got 9 lives.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Love it.
So yeah,
So,
Yeah.
what are some of the success stories that come to mind with everyone that you've helped so far and the schools that you go to?
okay. So I think the one thing that stands out and that makes me even more grateful is seeing people come back from treatment, whether or not I was a part of their journey into it, but the mere fact that they went in and came out, and seeing them going on and see them celebrating milestones like 1 year, 2 years, it brings me so much joy. And when I go to schools, what gives me the joy and the satisfaction out of what I'm doing is when learners come afterwards and they start asking questions, and they be like, I'm exposed to something like this. My uncle or my big brother is also using, and I'd just like to know how I best deal with them, because that shows that these people actually tuned in and plugged in. Because just like HIV and AIDS, if you're not
Yeah.
infected, you're affected. It's just how it works with
True.
addiction. So everyone is affected at the end of the day.
And what is moving to our last question, what is the thing that still pushes you and drives you to continue this work? Because I can imagine that it's not easy.
Never. So I've worked in the rehab spaces. I've managed one of the more prestigious halfway houses in Joburg. I've managed a rehab on a farm in Mildredrift, and I decided to step away from that. I resigned so I can focus full time on my foundation. And what keeps me going is the mere fact that I'm able to make a difference on my terms. Because I have a different understanding of how addiction should be dealt with and how recovery should be approached compared to, let me say, a rehab owner who's never been an addict or a social worker who's never been in my shoes. So I can relate directly. If an addict comes and they say, I'm withdrawing, I'm getting withdrawal symptoms, I'm feeling sick, I know exactly what they're feeling because I've been there plenty of times. So when they say, okay, I'm clean now, I just came back from treatment and I'm feeling tempted, I know how to help them get through it. So I realized that instead of building someone else's dream, let me just focus on what I can do.
And with you being an NPO,
Yes.
what is some of the assistance you require, and how can someone get a hold of you if they want to come and volunteer or help in any way?
Sure. Okay, so if they could please take our number is 081 000 9470, and our email address is mohatofoundation1, the number 1, @gmail.com. That's how people can get a hold of us if people want to volunteer, or if people would like to contribute, donate, or even sponsor, because a lot of everything that we do at this point is coming out of our own pockets. That being the soup kitchens,
Yes.
and we'll be doing our next one on the 27th of May in Jabulani, Soweto, which is quite a big hotspot. And we are also in the planning phase of a soccer day in collaboration with Rice Sky Foundation, where we'll be inviting rehabs and halfway houses, to bring their patients who are further on in the program to come play soccer and just get out there and breathe a little bit, Yeah.
And as we wrap up, what are your parting words to anyone thinking, I need Neo's help, or I am Neo, or I used to be Neo?
Sure. What I can say is, firstly, we need to get to a point where we're honest with ourselves. And last but not least, recovery is possible. And I'm sitting here in front of you, and I'm living proof that it can be done. I've got people who I call predecessors who've walked this journey before me, who've guided me. And I've got people who came after me who I'm guiding now. So it's a chain. We give back, and we can only keep what we have by giving it away. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having this informative conversation with
Thank
us.
you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It is 12:32 on the community's favorite Rainbow FM